Hey, I just want to ask a question. Am I being arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Holy sh**.
Jesse Shane Kempson, a 26-year-old man from Wellington, New Zealand, is the individual attempting to profess his innocence in the aftermath of a tragic event. This video aims to take you on a deep dive into the details of a seemingly enjoyable Tinder date that ended in the murder of 21-year-old Grace Mullane, who was 374 miles away from her home. The media notoriously titled the legal aftermath as the 50 Shades defense, drawing attention to the plethora of CCTV security and surveillance footage available throughout New Zealand. This case is widely recognized as a crime almost entirely caught on camera. On October 26, 2018, Grace Mullane, a 21-year-old from Essex County, drove to Heathrow Airport in London, boarded a flight to Peru, and spent the next 10 days traveling from island to island before heading to Auckland, New Zealand. Grace arrived in Auckland on the morning of November 30th, just 2 days before her 22nd birthday. She stayed at a popular hostel, socialized with bunkmates, and took it relatively easy on the evening of the 30th. Known as an outgoing social butterfly, Grace accessed the dating app Tinder on the evening of November 30th to make local friends during her visit. She connected with Jesse, a local man, and the two made plans for a date the following day. On December 1st, 2018, Grace's bunkmates watched her leave for the date with Jesse. During the evening, Grace sent a message to a friend back home, expressing that the date was going well and she might actually like the guy. However, shortly after this message, Grace's phone and social media activity went silent. Concerns grew, and on December 5th, 2018, Grace's family reported her missing to Auckland law enforcement. Grace's family emphasized that she carried 2 cell phones while traveling, both going to voicemail since December 2nd. Auckland police held a press conference, urging anyone with information to come forward. With little information regarding her whereabouts, David Mullane, Grace's father, traveled to New Zealand to search for his daughter and made a public plea.
Thank you for coming today. As you know, Grace has been missing for several days. We last had contact with her on Saturday the 1st of December. And as a family, we've been extremely concerned for her welfare. Grace is a lovely, outgoing, fun-loving, family-orientated daughter. Grace has never been out of contact for this amount of time. She's usually in daily contact with either her mother, myself, her 2 brothers, members of the family on social media. I don't know if you know, but Grace is on a year-long worldwide overseas experience. Grace started this travel journey in Peru in South America, and at the end of this was really looking forward to the second leg in New Zealand. She arrived here on the 20th of November and has been bombarding us with numerous photographs and messages of her adventures. We are all extremely upset, and it is very difficult at this time to fully describe the range of emotions we are going through. While we are very grateful for the media coverage both here and back home, we are finding this situation quite upsetting, and would sincerely hope that the media continue to respect our privacy. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to appeal to anybody who has seen, spoken to, or come into contact with Grace over the last few days, and to come forward with any detail, no matter how small, and contact the investigation team. Once again, I thank you all for coming.
Upon initiating an investigation into Grace's movements, the Auckland police made a disturbing discovery. CCTV cameras captured footage of Grace Mullane leaving her hostel precisely at 5:37 p.m. She proceeded to walk to Sky City, a nearby bar and casino. At this establishment, she waited briefly before being seen meeting and hugging her Tinder match, Jesse. Subsequently, Grace and Jesse entered Sky City and spent approximately 90 minutes together, enjoying a couple of drinks. This part of the evening, documented by surveillance cameras, became a crucial element in the unfolding investigation. As the evening progressed, things seemed to be going exceptionally well for Grace and Jesse, and they appeared to be hitting it off. They extended their date to the next venue, the Mexican Cafe, where they had a few more drinks. The evening continued as they moved on to another bar called the Blue Stone Room. While at the Blue Stone Room, the atmosphere between Grace and Jesse became more intimate. There was a moment when Jesse briefly excused himself to the bathroom. It was precisely at this juncture that Grace messaged her friend back home, expressing that she was having a really good time with her date. Jesse returned, and the two continued to enjoy themselves at the Blue Stone Room. At exactly 9:40 p.m., the surveillance footage captures the two holding hands and walking towards the City Life Hotel. It is revealed that Jesse had rented an apartment in this building. The footage then shows them entering the elevator and exiting on the floor where Jesse's apartment is located. This marks the last moment Grace Mullane was seen alive. The following morning, on December 2nd, Jesse is observed entering the elevator alone and exiting his apartment building. Raising questions about the events that unfolded after the last sighting of Grace. Following the last sighting of Grace, Jesse Kempson's actions took a suspicious turn. He was observed purchasing a handful of cleaning supplies and a new large suitcase. Once back at his apartment, he placed the newly acquired items inside before leaving again. Jesse hailed a taxi, headed to a local car rental facility, and rented a vehicle. He then proceeded to another bar in the area for a second Tinder date. However, the second date quickly became uncomfortable. Leading the individual to end it early and head home. She later revealed feeling uneasy after Jesse discussed the best places to hide a dead body from the police. After this awkward encounter, Jesse stopped by the front desk of his apartment building, requesting to borrow a Rug Doctor carpet steam cleaning machine. He brought the machine to his apartment and spent a couple of hours before reappearing on camera. Jesse was then seen bringing a hotel luggage cart to his room and, shortly after, emerging from the elevator with the cart loaded with a new large suitcase and several smaller pieces of luggage. He transported the luggage cart down to his rented vehicle and loaded everything inside. The next morning, around 7 a.m. on December 3rd, Jesse went to a store and purchased a brand new shovel. Returning to his apartment building just after 9 a.m., he stopped by a random trash can, disposing of some items. Subsequently, he drove to a dry cleaning service to clean clothing, and then took his rental car for a complete cleaning. CCTV footage captured Jesse again on December 5, 2018, discarding more items into another random trash can. Shortly after this video, the police caught up with Jesse and brought him in for questioning, intensifying the investigation into the disturbing events surrounding Grace Mullane's disappearance. Before delving into the interrogation footage, it's essential to note that certain parts of Jesse's interrogation videos are missing, and some sections are visually blurred. This is a result of an identity suppression order initially sought by the defense early in the case. Although the order was eventually lifted, the footage quality varies throughout the upcoming moments. Now, let's examine the interrogations of Jesse Kempson during his initial interview on December 5th. In this session, Jesse is fully committed to projecting an image of innocence, vehemently denying any involvement in Grace's disappearance. At times, he even appears concerned about her well-being. Jesse starts the interview by looking directly into the camera, indicating an awareness of the importance of presenting a convincing demeanor. The questioning then commences, unraveling the unfolding events of this critical interview.
Tell us about Grace.
So I was talking to Grace on Tinder. We'd matched on Friday. I saw that we'd matched the next day on Saturday.
As soon as Grace is mentioned during the interrogation, Jesse's body language undergoes a noticeable shift, indicating a rise in his stress levels. His legs tense, and he clenches his hands between his thighs. Additionally, he promptly takes a drink, a physical response that often suggests discomfort or unease. These nonverbal cues become crucial elements for the investigators as they navigate through the interview, probing for the truth behind Jesse's reactions.
How did the evening pan out?
Yeah, pretty good. I didn't initially know that she was real.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of... So have you heard of catfish?
No.
So catfishing is where someone uses your profile, or uses your photos and pretends to be you and then meets, and you're a completely different person.
Right.
And it's happened to a few people I know in Australia. And it's all over the TV. So I thought, you know what, if I meet at Sky City, at least I know that there's lots of people around. So if it is someone that it's not, then I can just walk away.
How did the evening sort of come to an end?
There was a hug and a kiss on the cheek, and a thanks, no, nice meeting you. And then I said, let me know about tomorrow. And she said, okay, and then she kept walking.
The investigator intensifies the pressure on Jesse, leading to a discernible increase in his anxiety. Jesse appears to experience a moment of slight panic in response to the heightened scrutiny and more probing questions. The investigator's tactics aim to elicit genuine reactions and potentially uncover crucial information related to the case.
We actually don't know if she's been murdered or not yet. She may be alive and well.
Okay.
But she might also be dead.
Okay.
Okay? And it could be that you've done it.
Hey, I just want to ask a question. Have I been arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Oh. Holy.
Despite Jesse's attempts to appear innocent, the police maintained their belief that he was involved in some way, given the substantial evidence against him. Consequently, they swiftly secured a search warrant for Jesse's apartment and initiated a forensic examination. Even with Jesse's efforts to clean, investigators managed to uncover traces of blood in and around the edges of his apartment carpet using luminol. This discovery prompted another interview with Jesse on December 7th, just 2 days after his initial interview.
You've indicated that you're willing to speak to us about the events of last Saturday. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell me what happened last Saturday.
From the beginning.
Confronted with the evidence that officers had unearthed, Jesse's narrative started to undergo significant changes.
Started talking to me about 50 Shades of Grey, which is a sex fantasy movie that's out. We started having sex. At first it was just normal. It was very placid. And then she asked me if we could get into bondage. And then all I remember is falling asleep in the shower.
Jesse Kempson was officially charged and detained in police custody. During his time behind bars, the investigation unfolded further, revealing disturbing Google searches made by Kempson between December 1st and December 7th. Additionally, it was discovered that during this period, he took pictures of Grace before placing her inside the purchased luggage. Google search history and GPS data from Kempson's cell phone led investigators to the Watakari Ranges, where they uncovered the luggage containing Grace's body buried in a hole. The case against Jesse Kempson became robust at this point. However, as mentioned earlier, there was a challenge due to what the media had dubbed the 50 Shades defense. This strategy, used by defense lawyers to mitigate punishment, had historically led to charges being reduced from murder to manslaughter in cases like Carol Califano, Natalie Connolly, Laura Hudson, and others. In a positive development, on July 6, 2020, members of Parliament, MPs, voted to include a provision in the Domestic Abuse Bill, preventing the use of this defense in British courts. This amendment aimed to protect victims from being shamed for their sexuality in court, eliminating the argument that consent for sexual gratification justifies causing harm to another person. Despite maintaining his innocence throughout the trial, Jesse Kempson was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison with a minimum non-parole period of 17 years. 2 more victims came forward, accusing Kempson of sexual assault after matching with him on Tinder. In October 2020, he was convicted of 8 more charges related to these offenses, receiving an additional 11-year concurrent sentence to the life sentence. Jesse Kempson is currently serving his sentence at the Auckland Prison in New Zealand.